Good afternoon. We will reconvene our Board of Education meeting for October the 8th. Welcome to your Board of Education boardroom. We've already opened the meeting with the invocation and pledge of allegiance, been in the closed session, and we've got some approvable minutes, and then we'll get to our recognition this afternoon. Entertained approval of a motion for approval of September the 10th, 2019 regular session minutes.
So,
Motion by Todd Sutton, second by Teresa Grant. Any questions about those minutes? All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries 6-0. The approval of the September the 24th, 2019 special session for school improvement plans. Entertain a motion for that.
so moved.
Motion by Dr. Smith, second by Teresa Grant. Any questions about those minutes? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries 6-0. The approval of the September the 30th special session school improvement minutes. Entertain a motion. Motion by Todd Sutton, second by Teresa Grant. Any questions about the September the 30 minutes? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Approval of October the 1st school improvement plan special session minutes. Entertain a motion. Teresa Grant, motion, second by Ronald Johnston. Any questions about those minutes? All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries 6-0. You can tell that we were busy in the month of September. Discussion and adjustment to the agenda, starting with Mr. Johnson. Okay. Ms. Sessoms?
Yes, I move that, given the concerns that we've received about policy 1250, the changes, the proposed changes, I move that this item be tabled for further study.
Would that be for the November meeting or?
Yes.
Okay. That is policy 1250, public address of the board. Entertain a motion to table that till the November meeting. Motion by Todd Sutton, second by, well, we got some more adjustments, don't we? But we got a motion. Who made the motion? Terry made, so you second. Well, let's go on with the regular adjustment to the agenda. Dr. Cosby.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to add one additional item under Roman numeral 7A, be a number 7 added. That would be just a personnel recommendation.
That's the approval, recommendation of the Clayton Middle School AP. That's 7A7. Dr. Smith.
No adjustments, sir.
Ms. Grant.
None, sir.
Mr. Sutton.
None, sir.
We got a first and a second on the approval of the adjusted agenda. All those in favor? Sure.
With regard to taking that, we're tabling our discussion of public comment. I would invite the public to go to the website and see the recommended changes as they are and give us your feedback, if that's appropriate, because we've been considering this policy for about 3 months, and every time we think we've got it right, someone comes up with a better idea. And so we really want to hear from you and make sure that when we do it right. So thank you.
I just
Any
want
more
to make
questions?
a comment too. I appreciate the policy committee looking into this again, and we appreciate all y'all are doing.
Now all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries 6-0 for the adjusted agenda. Now for our special recognition, which is always the favorite part of the board meeting. We always look forward to this each and every month. Call up Miss Dolores Gill.
And we're going to let our parents come in and the students and give them just a minute to get comfortable. So if we can just hold for just a couple of minutes.
Yeah, and I would say this is your boardroom, so you can walk behind the board to take pictures. So move around the boardroom to make sure you get the best shot you can.
Miss Haynes.
We do have parents coming in too. I don't know if you heard what I said, but you can move around the boardroom, take your pictures, come behind the board members so you can get a good shot. This is your boardroom, so please move around. You will not bother anybody. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chairman Wooten, Lady Vice Chair Dr. Peggy Smith, members of the board, Dr. Cosby. It's a pleasure to be with you for our favorite part of our agenda, which is our Character Ed and Portrait of a Graduate recognitions. And again, we'd like to welcome all of our parents and special guests who have come to support their student who attends our Johnston County Public Schools. So this is going to be a fantastic afternoon of recognizing our kids, who is the reason why we are here. Character education is a priority in Johnston County Public Schools, and this year we are highlighting both character education and the district's portrait of a graduate and how those two pieces work together. The portrait of a graduate trait for October is growth mindset, and growth mindset is working through challenges, showing perseverance, resilience, and self-advocacy. We are going to begin today with our first recognition, which is Kayla Keys from Archers Lodge Middle School. If I could have Kayla come over. Just right there. And I'm going to read about you, Miss Kayla. I hope that's okay with you. Kayla attends Archers Lodge, and she is in the 8th grade. And she fits right up with all of the folks who we would recognize with having a growth mindset, such as Bill Gates, Oprah Winfrey, and even Walt Disney. She is a caring leader that relates to all people. She listens attentively and leads by example. She is mature beyond her years and has a keen eye for seeing things that needs to be done before others do. She's the type of leader that speaks first to a new student in a school and helps to comfort them. She faces all of her tasks head on and gets them taken care of. She works diligently throughout the year and has participated and competed in North Carolina State's FBLA competition. She successfully earned first place in public speaking in the 2019 State of North Carolina FBA Leadership Conference. She never stops achieving her goals, whether it's in the classroom, the ball court, the soccer field. She knows and exhibits the quality as hard work and dedication, and all that is needed to develop her brain and her talent. She is a true inspiration and honored by Archers Lodge to be able to see her grow into such a bright, respectful, lovely young lady. Kayla, Archers Lodge Middle is proud of you, and so are we here in Johnston County Public Schools. Thank you so much. Let's give you a hand. We're going to let you go right over here. I will say that they do get a certificate signed by our superintendent and a small token of our appreciation. So our next recognition is for Corinth Holders Elementary School, which is Meadow Gross in 5th grade. Meadow, if you come on through. And she is a 5th grader at Corinth Holders Elementary School and is the school's nominee for Growth Mindset. She has established a healthy view on life and its struggles. At the beginning of the year, her class completed 4 activities about how to deal with failures and successes. The activities were meant to be a little challenging, and during these activities, Meadow was often tempted to give up on those things and maybe wanted to give up a little when there was frustrating times. She saw these mistakes as failures. However, At the end of the whole first activity, the class talked about it and about changing their point of view. Meadow has soared and realized all that she has been able to accomplish. By the time the class got through with all of the challenges, she had become an advocate, encouraging others and being able to remind them of so much progress that they could make together. Within our classroom, Meadow is often the voice of reason, constantly chiming in and explaining how proud she is that we are giving lots of efforts to our class activities. She brings a beautiful and willing heart to all that she does, and she is striving every day to shine her light for others. She's truly an example of having a growth mindset and overcoming challenges. And Corinth Holders is very, very proud to have her recognized today for the character trait of growth mindset. They are proud of her, and we are too in Johnston County Public Schools. Congratulations. I'm very proud of you. We are going to recognize from Corinth Holders High School. Come on up. Miss Anna Brown. She is in the 12th grade. This is exciting for her. And growth mindset is all about persevering, learning from failure, putting effort in, and all that comes along with the road to success. She has spent the last 4 years embodying a growth mindset through FFA and working with livestock. From a shy freshman to a girl is not afraid to try any task no matter what the outcome will be. Anna has grown using livestock for 3 years, which can be challenging when you're showing them, and she has been doing that since she was 3. Instead of being discouraged when not making the showmanship cut, she instead showed resilience and perseverance. She learns from other individuals, puts in extra time practicing, and works so much harder to be better in the show ring. Through showing, Anna has become more confident, her abilities have soared, and she has become a self-advocate for her future. At her last show, she placed 3rd in showmanship, and instead of stopping, she has continued to work to have that much more success. Corinth Holders is very proud to have her as their recognition for growth mindset, and we are too here in Johnston County. Congratulations. Our next recognition is McKenna Gibson. Come on up. McKenna exemplifies so many character traits that I see as contributing to be a model student and friend to all. She is wise beyond her years and is seen as an old soul. She has an humble confidence and is always supportive of all of the students in the classroom, even if she may disagree with another student's answers or theories. She loves learning and, quite honestly, exudes positivity. McKenna faces challenges with grace and compassion and excitement. She's got a unique way to come up with solutions that are solid, fair, and respectful to all involved. McKenna has also embraced the true meaning of not learning something yet. So even if she gets frustrated, she understands, I haven't learned it yet. She works through problems with perseverance and is not afraid to make mistakes when she knows that she's going to have learning come from it. She's a true leader at Riverdale Elementary, and I think we could all learn a lot from McKenna. And I'm proud and blessed to be a part of learning with her, says her school at Riverdale. We are very proud of McKenna, and she represents Riverdale well, and we are proud of you here in Johnston County Schools, McKenna. Congratulations. Next, we have Miss Ava Young from Riverwood Elementary School. Ava Young is in 3rd grade, and Team Ava is a phrase that can be heard throughout the halls of Riverwood Elementary and seen on T-shirts all the way from North Carolina to Georgia. During Ava's kindergarten year, she was diagnosed with a form of leukemia. As Ava enters 3rd grade this year, she is currently in remission. Near the end of her 2nd grade year, we're not finished, we're still talking. Near the end of her 2nd grade year, she was able to celebrate the removal of her port with a donut party with her class, a disease that she continuously has worked hard to overcome, a disease that helps her to work hard to educate others about it, and one in which she shows daily that it does not define who she is. Ava has fought her battle of cancer with determination and an attitude that cancer is not welcome in her life. Although Ava has had to miss more school than most students, she has worked tirelessly to overcome these challenges. No matter how bad she has felt, she has always pushed herself, kept fighting with a smile of determination. She has a want to learn, and when she is faced with tough situations, she knows that even when they're tough, she'll figure out how to overcome them. Ava understands that things are not always easy, but knows that through hard work, nothing will stop her from accomplishing her dreams and goals. Riverwood Elementary is so proud to have Ava represent them as their growth mindset recognition, and we are too here in Johnston County Public Schools. Congratulations, Ava. I just found out he's on my son's soccer team. He's the one that's always running so fast I don't get a glimpse of him. Riverwood Elementary is so delighted to have Diego Vega Herrera in 7th grade, and he is our recognition at Riverwood for growth mindset. Diego has shown a willingness to learn and encourages other students in his class to work hard. He's a positive role model academically and socially. He works hard during school and after school. He plays soccer up to 5 and 6 hours a day. I can attest to that. After spending 7.5 hours learning in school, he perseveres and continues to maintain high grades while keeping up a challenging schedule. Throughout his time at Riverwood, his teachers have always noted his strong work ethic and outstanding behavior. His English language arts teacher describes Diego as going above and beyond. He asks his teachers what improvements can he make so he can make necessary adjustments and learn from his mistakes. He is a leader among his peers, and he has developed a fantastic rapport with his classmates. This is demonstrated by how he is focused during instruction or when talking with others. His teachers say he is a fantastic listener. When talking about growth mindset, Diego emphasized that you are always capable of learning and bettering yourself if you have a growth mindset. Congratulations to Diego, who represents us for growth mindset. We're very proud of you, Diego. We have a fantastic group, and they're going to now come by and shake our board members' hands. We're going to start with you, Miss Kayla. Come this way. Thank you, Chairman. I'll turn it back over to you.
Mr. Vetrano, welcome, sir.
Thank you. Always good to come before you, especially when I get to recognize outstanding employees. It's my privilege to introduce you today to two wonderful employees that we have. First, our classified employee of the month, Miss Lisette Villeda. Ms. Villeda serves as a parent liaison through the ESL office at West Campus, and she was nominated by several of her peers. They had a lot to say about you. I've highlighted some of this to share with the board today. Lisette demonstrates great character and integrity when working with our parents, her peers, and the administration in our schools. Her efforts are tireless in providing our parents with a good experience when enrolling their students. Lizette is always on call in the ESL office for whatever tasks arise. She can be found at times working late after her coworkers have gone home. Finally, each day, Lizette leaves us not to go home and relax and participate in a favorite hobby. Every night of the week, Lizette attends Johnston Community College. With so much desire and ambition to succeed in all areas of her life, she appears to push forward with such grace, consideration, and ease, and most importantly, kindness and compassion. And they go on and on and on and on. Miss Villeda, we congratulate you for being Johnston County Public Schools Classified Employee of the Month. Congratulations. And you can stand on this side. Our Certified Employee of the Month is Miss Elizabeth Ashley. If Miss Ashley will please come join me. Miss Ashley serves as a social worker at Selma Elementary School. The individual who nominated Miss Ashley shared that she is extremely deserving of Employee of the Month. Elizabeth is very hands-on with all students at Selma Elementary. She makes herself readily available for any student or staff member who needs assistance. Elizabeth handles the Backpack Buddy program in our school. That's a huge program. I know the church I go to, that's a large event to organize each week. She is also involved in numerous community events. Elizabeth goes as far as helping the custodial staff to get the school ready for events when they are short-staffed. She is a pleasure to work with, and our students and staff are fortunate to have her. Miss Ashley, thank you so much for everything that you do. Congratulations for being our Certified Employee of the Month. And if both of you will, if you'll go on the same side. There we go. And I was feeling sort of young today until I was reminded that I served as Miss Ashley's assistant principal years ago. So I'm getting old. That's right. You can't hide yet. We have more treats for you. For both of you, a certificate, gift card, and a keychain. Thank you so much. Thank you much.
Thank you, Mr. Petrano. Advisory Board appointments. I believe we'll start with Mr. Johnston again.
Apologize. Reading for Tracy Zukowski, who's not with us today. For Archers Lodge Middle School with Principal Melissa Hubbard, we're requesting a reappointment of members Jenny Durko, Kathleen Stuckey, and James McLean for 3 years each. Those terms would end in June 2022. And we would also like to thank the following members for their service: Carrie Bird, Kimberly Brantley, and Brian Limper. They will be rotating off of the Advisory Council this year. Also, Principal David West at Riverwood Middle, new member appointments of 3 years each for George Moore and Indra Pugh, filling vacant seats, terms to end June 2022.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. We'll let that serve as the motion to approve advisory board members. Ms. Sessoms?
At South Smithfield Elementary, Principal Laura Makey has submitted the following. We request new member appointment of 3 years for Brenda Harris, filling a vacant seat left by Shatise McClern, term to end in June 2022. Also, Principal William Weaver at South Johnston High. We request a new member appointment of 3 years for Paula Woodall, filling a vacant seat left by Shannon Massengill, term to end in June 2022.
Thank you, Ms. Sessoms. We'll let that serve as the second to the motion to approve advisory board members. Ms. Grant?
Swift Creek Middle School's Principal Carrie Evans recommends new member appointment of 3 years for Jamie Thomas, filling a vacant seat left by Barry Lee, term to end in June 2022. Cleveland High Principal Jenna Sauls Hare recommends reappointment of member Diane Fields for 3 years, term to end in June 2022.
Thank you, Ms. Grant. Mr. Sutton.
Corinth Holders Elementary Principal Dr. Chris Kennedy requests a new member appointment of 3 years for Sarah Caudle, filling a vacant seat left by Heather Alford, and Julie Perry, filling a vacant seat, terms to end June 2022. And North Johnston Middle School Principal Ms. Heather Anders, reappointment of member Tracy Davis for 3 years, term to end June 2022.
Thank you, Mr. Sutton. Dr. Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. McGee's Crossroads Elementary Principal Stephanie Leonard recommends new member appointments of 3 years each for Pam Batchelor, Linda Underwood, Kimberly Dyson, and Laura Honeycutt. These are filling vacant seats left by Jennifer Miller and Brenda Harley. And then there are 2 vacant seats. We really appreciate the service. Terms will end June 2022.
Thank you, Dr. Smith. We have a motion to approve by Ronald Johnson, second by Terry Sessoms. Any questions about the advisory board approvals? All those approve?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Dr. Cosby.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. At this time, I would ask that the board approve consent items 7A1A through 7A1F.
Entertain a motion to approve. Consent
moved.
agenda. Motion by Ronald Johnson,
Second.
second by Teresa Grant. Any questions about the consent? All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you very much. We've seen some wonderful students recognized today, and I have 2 more it's my pleasure to recognize now. I don't have as much information on them as you had on the ones you introduced, but for them to be occupying the positions of prestige and achievement that they occupy, certainly they have all those same characteristics that we've heard talked about. And I'm so very proud of them. These are the kind of students that just really make you proud to be an educator, to see the kind of things that they've accomplished and what they're doing, and the role models that they're establishing and setting for other students in their schools. There's no question they will go on to be wonderful human beings, that they will contribute greatly to our society, and if they will do great things. I just got to meet them a little bit ago, just chatting with them briefly. I could tell very quickly they're very confident, they know what they're doing, and they make a wonderful first impression. So it's my pleasure to introduce our Student Leaders of the Month at this time. And I'll ask them to stand up, and then if you'll come by, I don't know if you may have folks here to get pictures. If you do, if you want to come up and so you can see that, that'll be just fine also. First, young lady who serves as president of the Corinth Holders High School Student Government Association, Ms. Tessa Gladwell. Tessa, if you would stand and be recognized. Give her a big round of applause. And then secondly, also from Corinth Holders High School, serving as president of the senior class, Mr. Andrew Phillips. See, that's the wonderful stuff that we get to do. It's just great. At this time, I would like to call on Vice Chair Peggy Smith to present information about the Silver Bell Award that our board has won.
Thank you so much. The North Carolina School Boards Association awards 2 levels of local school board achievements. The Gold Bell Award is given to districts whose board members all receive a minimum of 12 or more hours of school board training. The Silver Bell is awarded to boards in districts where every member has actively worked toward meeting their 12 hours of training from July 1 to June 30th timeframe. Johnston County was presented the Silver Bell Award on Wednesday, September 11th, 2019, at the Region 3 meeting hosted by Lucas Middle School in Durham, North Carolina. And Chairman Wooten will come forth and receive this award on behalf of the board. He's quite lovely.
Thank you, Dr. Smith.
You're very welcome.
Appreciate it. I don't get this mic much, so I will take a minute to speak. I appreciate what this board does each and every day, and you know, I'm not an educator, most of us on the board aren't. So we have to educate ourselves about things that are going on around the state of North Carolina and school safety and programs and curriculum. And I appreciate the opportunities to train, but I want to take the time to thank you for all the dedication of your personal time that you give to this, to being a board member and making Johnston County proud. I appreciate it. Thank you.
At this time, we have a report on Innovation Academy, a trip that's coming up to Rome.
Dr. Cosby, I think Innovation Academy, they're not here yet, so if we can just move on with the, with your information.
We'll come back to that then. That'll work just fine. Item number 5 was tabled until the next session. Item number 6, just wanted to share some information with you about what I've been doing in the last 5 weeks since I've been. Doesn't seem like it could possibly be that long, but it has been. First of all, we thank this board for the opportunity to come back to Johnston County for a while. I enjoy this place. It feels like home, and I'm delighted to be here. What I have found is that it's a much different school system than it was when I left it in 2004. I left it, we had about 25,000 students. We have over 37,000 now. I think we had 22 schools at that time. We now have 45. It's changed from a system that was small and you could kind of watch and keep your hands on. It's a big operation now, over 5,000 employees, and all the challenges that come with that. So it's a little different kind of role for me. I've been in lots of different size systems, but this is the largest that I've dealt with. So it's taken a lot of my time just learning. One of the things that's a little different going into an interim, usually you go into a situation where you've never been. This one's different because I've been here and there's so many folks knew me, and folks who didn't remember just how bad I was when I was here and had forgotten all the bad stuff. And don't laugh, Mickey. You know, you and I talked about it from time to time. But, and all those folks I needed to touch and rekindle the relationships and see those folks again, and that's taken a lot of time. I don't mean that negative. I love doing it, but it just takes a lot of time. And then there's all those thousands of other folks that I need to get to know. And, 45 principals, of which only one was here when I left, so that's 44 folks, and I'm going through that process. A lot of different central office folks, a lot of different folks in the community in different kinds of leadership roles, and getting to know those folks and meet with parents. And of course, the situation that Clayton that we've been dealing with, and whether we dealt with that right or wrong is not the issue here. That's just taken a lot of time. But through that process, I've got to know a lot of folks. And I would say to you that through that process, whether anyone was in support of this side or that side or anywhere in between, they've been gracious and they've been mannerly, and so that says a lot about Johnston County, because you have to be able to disagree in an agreeable manner. And that's certainly been the case. So that's taken a lot of time. There's also been a lot of other very important groups that I've met with, one of which is here, these 3 gentlemen here representing on the front row today, the Education Summit Group. They had me to dinner one night and made sure I got fed nicely. And of course, then they put all kind of stuff in my ears. But I'm absolutely delighted that, because I share their goal. And their goal is equity in our school system and making sure that our employees are treated right, that we're recruiting the folks that we need to be recruiting, that we're giving them opportunities for growth and giving them a chance to move into leadership positions. And in the short time I'll be here, I promise them I'll work very strongly with them to make that happen. So we're partners with that, right? Very good, thank you. And they said they might agitate every once in a while. And I said, just let me know when you're going to agitate so I can get out of the way. But they're a great group, and they have a very good purpose, and I'm excited about working with them. There's some other things that I've had to dig into and get a little bit of time in on, and they're not very pleasant things to talk about. One of those is that I have found that where we once had a wonderful school system, we're now more a system of schools. And we have a lot of folks doing a lot of good things, but it's kind of going in all kinds of directions. And principals, I think, will tell you, we've already tried to set the tone of what I expect to be important. And first of all, is treating kids right and doing the right things for them. But secondly, is really focusing on student achievement. You know, this system has a history of that. And I can say like Mary Nell Ferguson and Ms. Cohen and folks who are here were involved in our efforts over the years and did such great work. And this system's going to get back. It's just a matter of folks, because great things are happening. It's not a matter of not being good. It's just that it needs to be focused. And I'll do what I can during the time I'm here to do that. And so you'll hear me say that a lot. If you hear me speaking, you'll hear me talking about high achievement, you'll hear me talking about equity, and you'll hear me talking about high expectations. Because nobody rises to low expectations. And we want everyone to rise. So that's what you'll hear over and over and over. If you heard it when I was here 10 years before, you're going to hear it again. Okay? That's message has not changed since I left. The last thing that I just want to mention to you quickly is our budget situation. I have met with board members individually and by pairs and so on, explaining where we are. I know our employees, especially our principals, have a big concern about that because they're wondering what's affected and where our central office folks have concern. I have looked in depth with staff and with our finance folks at our allocations. We basically get money from the federal government, we get it from the state, and we get it locally. The federal money that flows is very program specific. You can only do with it what it's designed to do. For example, exceptional children's programs or at-risk programs like Title I, remediation programs. So that money doesn't help us in our local budget at all, but it helps provide additional kinds of programs. The state provides the vast majority of our budget, and it flows in a couple of ways. It flows either in positions. For example, we get one teacher for so many kids in K-3 and 4-8 and high school, and the state will pay the full salary and benefits of that person, whether it's a beginning teacher or whether it's a teacher with 30 years of experience. So we're guaranteed those kind of things from the state. We get one principal for every school, things like that. We get one assistant principal for every so many kids. We get so much money for exceptional children based on a formula. And so we have to, when you're doing a budget, you have to take all of that and put it together and determine what you need in your schools. And what's left is a responsibility locally. And that's where we have some issues right now. Systems operate hopefully on the budgets they get each year. We have a history now the last few years here of operating and spending more than what that budget has been, so we've depleted our fund balance. Where our fund balance was close to $10 million just a few years ago, it's now down to $330-some thousand of usable money. Okay, barely enough to make sure that we can pay the bills when they come in, so that's not a pleasant situation, but you need to know that. We're working with that. We're working to make some reductions. My latest work, once we've gone through that and looked at local, what we need and where we're short, is somewhere in the range of $10 million to get through this year. I have met this morning with our county manager. We have some initial commitments. County commissioners are seriously considering where we are, and I believe that they're willing to help. Now, I have not met with all of them yet. I will be doing that, so I want you to know where it is. I don't want people to get panicked by it, but I want people to know what the facts are. You know, we want to be as open with things as we can. Sometimes there are things we can't be open with, but we want to be open. Now, what's caused that? Multiple things, and I'm not going to point fingers or get into any of that with it. But there are multiple factors, but we've been spending more than we've got. Whether we got as much as we needed is another question, but we've been spending more than what we've had, and we've depleted, and now we're short. The second reason for the big shortfall is our exceptional children's program. The state of North Carolina funds us for 12.75% of our student population to be in that program. We have right at 17%. So that's about 30-some% more than what we get funded for. And our shortage in that program right now, when you take the federal funds that flow for that and the state funds that flow for that, is about $12 million is where we're short in that program alone. I've identified in the state budget $4 million that we can put in that, but that still leaves us about 8. And that 8 is a big part of that 10 that I mentioned to you. Okay, so that's where it is, and we're making every effort to work through it, and we'll make adjustments. To get down to 10, we've made a commitment to cut $5 million out of the school budget, and my staff and I are working on that now. We've identified areas, and as soon as those are finalized, we'll make sure everyone knows where they are. We'll do everything we can to not touch the classroom. You know, there are other things that if we have to cut, we'll deal with, and we'll make every effort not to touch the classroom, and in every way we can not to touch schools. Okay? And that doesn't leave a lot to work with, but that's what we're going to try to do. So that's not good news, but I wanted to share it, and I wanted to share it publicly. And certainly, if there's any responses from the board, that'll be fine. But right now, the effort is to make it a cooperative thing, where the school system is making our efforts to reduce, and then we're going to the folks who fund the schools locally, and that's our county commissioners. And again, I would say my history with them has been good. I believe they are understanding our issue, and I believe that they will react in a positive manner. But everyone's help with that will be appreciated. So that's kind of what I've been doing and being worked on.
Dr. Cosby, I just want to say thank you for the education you gave us on the local budget, probably the most we've had since I've been on the board, as far as going through those numbers and breaking them down. I would like to say I'm just very disappointed in our previous superintendent. As a board member, I can only act on the information that is presented to me. We're not here on a daily basis. Therefore, we rely on the information that is presented to us in a boardroom. And I'm just very disappointed. Thank you.
Mr. Sutton, well said. I echo everything that you've just said. Dr. Cosby, I want to thank you for being honest with us. We know we can only make good decisions based on the information that we're presented. And while this is not a message we wanted to hear, at least we know where we are. And I want to thank you for that.
Any other comments?
You know, I think a lot of people in Johnston County from many different groups over the past several months and maybe several years have had a lot of questions about the direction we're going, what we're doing. And, you know, unfortunately, when stuff like this is discovered, you have to make a change. You have to make some tough decisions. And the Board of Education has done that. And unfortunately, we found the discrepancies, and unfortunately, we were putting things together. But fortunately, we've got the right one pilot in the plane now. And Dr. Cosby's a decision maker. He's going to come in and make some tough decisions, and you may like them, you may dislike them. And I can tell you the board members have liked and disliked some of his decisions. Whether what side you fall on, you know he's going to make a decision. And I'm thankful for that. And there's been a lot of controversy, and you can call me a conspiracy theorist if you want, but I think some of that might have been by design. And I'm sure there's some people out there, you know, Dr. Cosby talked about disagreeing in an agreeable fashion. But I'm sure there is a small minutia of people who want that disagreement. They want that conflict, you know. So to all those people that want that conflict and chaos in Johnston County schools, to everyone who's about to take to the internet, your internet trolls, your keyboard warriors, you know, the people who get real tough when they're behind a computer screen and keyboard. Line up to throw your stones now, but be sure you get back in line when we fix this problem. And keep the same enthusiasm you have right now when you come back a year later and we've got the ship on the right course. Thank you.
Dr. Smith or Ms. Grant?
As I said in the invocation when we started this, we don't know what we don't know until someone slaps us in the face with it. And we appreciate you, Dr. Cosby. We appreciate your leadership. We appreciate the transparency that you're willing not only to share with this board, but also with the county commissioners, with the public. And we are thankful that we have you. We know you have tons of experience, not just in Johnston County, but elsewhere with school systems and budgets. And we know we have the right person. I'll just say what I said before. I appreciate you looking at the ways we can cut and do things right, but we need all those teachers we can get.
Dr. Smith?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, thank you. I had the privilege of working with Dr. Cosby when our district was in dire straits. And I watched this district under his leadership, Ms. Cohen, Mary Nell Ferguson, go from, I won't say the number, but in the range of 115 out of 119 to the top of the heap in 10 years. We never changed goals. Our goals were the same the last day he walked out as the first day he walked in. And you will see that steady at the helm and really leading our district. And for that, I'm so thankful, and thankful to this board for inviting Dr. Cosby to come and his accepting that offer. So thank you so much.
Thank you, board members. I don't think I can word it any better than the way y'all have explained your feelings. And Dr. Cosby, us as Johnston County Public Schools, we're blessed to have you and your role and your leadership and your direction. And we're rolling up our sleeves with you to get us where we need to be. And we're blessed to have you here and look forward to working with you. And I'm excited about what's the days ahead. So, no, it's not good news, but I know we're going to get where we need to be. Any more comments from you, Dr. Cosby?
I got all that on tape.
And you do.
Some of you laugh. That's all on that item. I do have item 7 that was added also. It's my pleasure to ask you to approve Susan Jones as principal of Clayton Middle School on a 2-year contract.
Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Dr. Smith, seconded by Ronald Johnson. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Is Innovation Academy here? If you would please come forward, please. Welcome, Ms. Johnson.
Thank you very much.
If you could face this way, that way, and move back just a little bit. We want this camera to get all your pretty faces on there.
Good afternoon to our Board of Education and our Superintendent and senior leadership. My name is Kelly Johnston, and I have the honor of serving as the lead learner, principal of the Innovation Academy at South Campus. Most of our presentation will be led by our students and followed up with by Mrs. Ham beside me. But just a little background, our school is committed to providing personalized, project-based learning experiences rooted in relationships for majority first-generation college students, potential students from along the 95 corridor. And that's all I will say. At this point, I would like to pass it along to our Pioneer ambassadors. Come around here. Yeah.
We'll let you get in the line and we'll let you each come to the microphone there. How about that?
Hello.
If everybody can get behind her, then we could have her on camera while she's speaking. That would be great. I don't mean to be bossy. I'm just trying to get, I know your parents would love to see your picture. So, thank you.
Hello, my name is Serenity Whitaker, and I'm a third-year pioneer.
Hello, my name is Sarah Beth Williamson. I'm a third-year pioneer, and I'm from Benson, North Carolina.
Hello. Hello, I'm Elizabeth Sesser, and I'm a second-year pioneer, and I'm from Four Oaks.
My name is Alex Wolf, and I am a third-year pioneer, and I represent Micro, North Carolina.
Hello, my name is John Hall, and I'm a third-year pioneer, and I represent Smithfield, North Carolina.
Hi, my name is Daisy Perales. I'm a third-year pioneer, and I represent Smithfield.
Hi, I'm Ashley Jara. I'm a third-year pioneer, and I represent Smithfield.
So our opportunity, we were 1 out of 15 students. Schools selected for Rome. We were 8 out of 2,500 students selected, and out of 400,000 schools.
So while we're in Rome, we kind of have a brief schedule. On day 1, we will be collaborating with students from over 100 other countries. On days 2 and 3, we will be showcasing the learning opportunities we've had here, but also being able to show and express the learning that we will see from the other students. And then on day 4, we will be able to have some information provided to us from other global leaders such as the Pope.
We were given this opportunity because we helped during Florence. We some kids went and delivered food and toys to animal shelters. A few people went to go clean up parks. Other kids brought clothes and supplies to the schools. And then some people went to local women's shelters.
Okay, I'm here to talk about how we were chosen. It wasn't based on how much money our parents made. It was based on the impact that we've had on our community throughout this opportunity. And we are at $13,800, and our goal is to raise $23,000 for 8 students and 5 chaperones.
So as you guys know, we're going to Rome, and we hope to be able to bring back the cultural aspect of this to help influence our community, more people to make a change in our public school systems or anything else.
And as Daisy just said, it's a lot about inspiring young people, and that's one of the big impacts I think this will have on North Carolina and the United States, showing that no matter what your age is or how old you are, that you can always make a difference in the world.
Because of this amazing opportunity that we've been given, we would like to keep everyone who's interested updated on what we will be doing in Rome. We have this website that we'll update regularly, and then we will be adding a blog showing daily updates on what we're doing every day in Rome.
Hi, my name is Elizabeth Ham, and I serve as a lead learner for ELA at Innovation Academy at South Campus. And I really wanted to take the opportunity and thank you guys for hearing what our kids had to say, for being willing to advocate for the incredible work that young kids are doing, especially in Johnston County Public Schools. So thank you guys for the opportunity, and please continue to follow us as we journey to Rome in just 47 days. So thank you.
So does anybody have any questions on? Sorry? Oh, yeah, sorry.
If any board members want to share, I've had the opportunity to go to the Innovation Academy for a couple visits, and the students will show you around to show you what's going on in the Innovation Academy. It was created for a lab school for anybody to go and see how these students learn, project-based learning and working in groups and doing all kinds of neat stuff, and they're really having a great time learning. They're excited about what they do each and every day. The teachers are excited. Todd Sutton and I went over there a couple of weeks ago, and I'm just amazed at what's going on inside the classroom walls. And it's open to Miss Johnston. I know she will open anybody and any stakeholder in Johnston County or out of Johnston County and wants to see what's going on at the Innovation Academy is welcome. And they're proud of their school, and I'm proud of it too.
And if you've never been to an expo, take advantage, because that's where it all happens. I've seen mathematicians be stumped on your catapults last year. You all outdid the mathematicians. Oh, yes, you did. Excellent work.
Any more comments? Thank you very much. Dr. Coates.
Thank you, Mr. Board Chair, Madam Vice Chair, members of the board, and Dr. Cosby. I have one item for you today, Exhibit 7B1. Recall from our September meeting that the board was provided access to all school improvement plans electronically through the NC Store platform and also the district's strategic plan in draft form. All those plans align with the implementation of research-based practices for school-wide improvement and include actions focused on improving overall student achievement, including the social and emotional learning for all our students. Each school's website furnishes contextual information on school improvement, and it's a guest access code for anyone who would like to log on and view those individual plans. In addition to that, the board heard direct presentations of all school improvement plans for our 14 low-performing schools. Per North Carolina General Statute 115C-105.37, the school board must move to approve, modify, or reject those plans. Pending board approval, the district will submit the plans of the low-performing schools to the state. The desired date for this submission is Friday, October 11th, and we request your approval of those plans.
This is a action item, district and school improvement plans. Entertaining a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Dr. Smith, second by Ronald Johnson. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you. And since all our plans have now been approved, even those that are from the 31 schools who did not do a formal presentation, I hope you could agree with me that those formal presentations are not necessary at this time. Good. Okay, great. Thank you.
Ms. Gill, welcome back.
Good afternoon once again, Chairman Mike Wooten and Lady Vice Chair Dr. Peggy Smith, members of the board, and Dr. Cosby. It's a pleasure to be with you once again, and I have one item for you. It's Board Exhibit 7C1, an update about our board recognitions and a proposal I'd like to bring before you today. And I think we have it up on the screens, and it's included in your links today as well. Each month during our regularly scheduled board meetings, the Communication Department is proud to partner with athletics, academics, bands, music, and club organizations to recognize our deserving students and highlight their accomplishments. As the district continues to grow, it has become increasingly difficult to accommodate the students and guests in our boardroom, which has limited capacity. The Communications Department would like to recognize all of the students during our first annual Johnston County Public Schools Recognition Gala. We would like to call it a gala. I don't know why I like that, but I do. This will be an event to be able to comfortably seat all of our honored students and guests at this special event. I would like to say that we have got Smithfield Selma High School and Mr. Allen, who has been so gracious to already put this date on his calendar, hoping that we'll get approval from you today. All character education and other recognitions of this type of nature would continue to be recognized here in our boardroom each month. The preliminary planning document is what you see linked on the agenda, and with your approval, we'd like to begin the planning process with Mr. Brent Walston, our athletics director, and our other contacts within our curriculum department who head up many of these clubs and organizations to be able to begin the planning and to promote the event. So we do have some highlights, and what we'd like to do is to have this in our May 12th board meeting, and that after the board meeting is complete, to journey over to Triple S, and we would make this a highlighted event, making this very special with all of our students, and you'll see the recognition categories, which we have gone through all the past board meeting agendas to really highlight and categorize all the groups we have used throughout the past several years, and we do have it broken down in those categories. You'll see that because this is our first run at it, we'd like to have this done in 2 groups. Certainly each one of you be seated, but then bring in groups and have some transition time, have some light refreshments, and then you will see that we'd like to have this as a red carpet type event. Have folks be able to stand in front of one of our JCPS backdrops, have social media time, have Facebook Live time, just let it be a whole lot of fun. And then students would be able to sit in their categories. Our guests would have an identified area as well. And then they would receive a certificate for participating, have their names displayed on a screen so they can have it, as well as a program and a full press package to highlight the event. So we would need a little bit of pre-planning for it to be a condensed board meeting in May from hopefully 4 to 5:30, giving you all a chance to get over. And we certainly will make any adjustments to how we do it this first run if we can get your approval to try it out this spring. So I'd like to bring that to you for both information and your approval so we can move forward with the planning process.
Any comments? Thank you for doing that, because I've always felt when we have a large crowd of students here, it seems that we may be rushing them through the recognition when we need to be taking time and speaking to each and every one of them. And I'd like to share time with them and speak to their parents. And in this environment, it's more of get it done and get out. That's the way I feel, so I know they feel that way. So this will be great, and I think they deserve this recognition, and having time to build relationships with them and talk with them is going to be excellent. This is a great idea.
I just have a question about, I guess, end of year kinds of things. May 12th is early for some of the competitions that happen, maybe not. You are more aware of that.
We do know we may have some outliers, and if we do have those, rather than those being excluded and waiting until the next one, we may have to have some groups that actually come to some of the board meetings to make sure we get those in. So as we start getting into a routine, that's what we're looking to do, is get with Mr. Walston. And some of these is according to whether they win an all-state that particular time. So you can't predict all of them. But what we'd like to do is get with the executive directors over in curriculum who handle our math counts and all academic competitions. And that planning is for looking at the timing. And then if we have somebody that their groups are going to not be able to fit in this model, we certainly would make adjustments within our board meeting. But that would not be still the whole group. It would get our numbers down to being more of a customized group, and we can spend more time with them.
But there shouldn't be any reason why we still couldn't have refreshments in the backdrop and the time to socialize.
Whatever we need to do to make this a fun event for folks who are coming. This particular building, as we have become a very large school system, is just not accommodating us to be as individualized as we would like them to be. So we feel like this is our time for us to begin to migrate, to begin to act like a larger school system.
Good information. Thank you.
Everybody happy with that? Good. All right. That's all I have. Thank you.
Mr. Vetrano.
Yes, sir. Good to stand before you again. As I shared with you last month, the team's been very active this summer, striving to recruit qualified individuals to serve in our schools. At this point in the school year, we do still continue to focus much time and attention on filling vacancies. However, we do have other areas of responsibility, I always like to take just a moment to highlight some of those areas because we have a fabulous team. They work tirelessly to complete the many, many tasks that are often behind the scenes that most people aren't aware of. Dr. Cosby mentioned earlier in his remarks about allotments, and so we do work with departments and schools to ensure they receive the allotments that they need as much as we can afford out at our schools. And just to give you an example, Dr. Cosby was mentioned the difference in what we receive from the state and how we utilize local funds to make up the difference. The state gives us 1 month of an AP position per 98 kids. So if you look at one of our schools like Micro or Pine Level, and we have a full-time assistant principal there, the state is only picking up 3 months of that assistant principal. The other months, we have to rely on local funds. And I'm sure if you asked any principal in there if they needed every AP they have, they would say yes and then some. So we work with all of our organizations and our departments to ensure that we can put the most positions out there in our schools that we need in order to serve our children. Many other areas up there that you can see, performance and evaluation processes. We work closely with our administrators on those matters. Any personnel concerns, reviews that come our way, recruitment and retention. Sometimes you would think that this is just a project for the HR team. And I share with the principals in our K-12 meetings that this is a school system effort and initiative. And every single person needs to take a part in it. When I was a school-based principal, I shared with the staff that when we have a vacancy, it's up to every one of you to promote our school positively and to try to find someone out there who you feel would be an asset to our team. So it takes every staff member to recruit and then not only to play a part to retain our staff. We assist employees with insurance, benefits, leave of absence. You can see substitutes. We need all the wonderful substitute teachers we can, so if you're listening and you're interested, we'd love to talk with you. Our volunteer processes and systems, and then we offer professional development and training as we can. This is a wonderful picture of the recruitment events that we attend and that we hold. Everyone's having a great time. We hope that you get a chance to come to our next annual job fair, which you'll see on our last slide. But these events are wonderful, and it's not only just the human resources team. We invite many of our school-based administrators to travel with us and to meet wonderful individuals throughout the state and outside of the state. This is an alphabetized list of the in-state universities and colleges that we attended this past school year, whether it be just for visits or job fairs, in some cases to simply try to just deliver donuts and get to know people. College students love donuts, so that helps. We do continue to recruit from out-of-state universities. I can tell you, though, this is a large expense. It can be a large expense just to travel to one of these job fairs. But we are very strategic in where we go. This list doesn't look very long, but if you look off to the right where we have in parentheses, what we try to do is take advantage of area job fairs. And so as you can see, just this small list, we were able to communicate with over 60 universities. And so in New York, Michigan, Pennsylvania. And we still continue 20 to 30% of many individuals that we hire come from out of state. So if we did not travel out of state, we would have even more vacancies than what you'll see today. In spite of much rain at our last job fair in April, we still had 200 plus attendees, and we issued early contracts at that event. And so we always like to invite people to come out to our job fair because we do give early contracts on site. We also value many of our partnerships. There are many of them here, but We have just this year over 77 student teachers. Last year, I think that number was around 65, so we've increased the number of student teachers. And I will tell you, that's impressive to see because I continue to read article after article where they're talking about the teacher shortage and how that is actually getting worse and not better. So I'm glad to see that we have a larger number of student teachers. The partnerships are listed there. All of these initiatives are important. I'm sure there's a few that are not up on this slide, but I wanted to share with you the many things that we're doing to try to get more people to look at teaching in general. It's always nice to stand before you and talk about the wonderful work that some individuals behind me do throughout the summer and the school year. When we look at the work this summer, there was a total of 809 certified employment actions. Of those, 310 were new hires. 499 were transfers, meaning internal position changes or school-to-school moves. For classified, a total of 331 employment actions, and you can see the breakdown there. If you combine all of this, it's more than 1,000 employment actions. Now, again, that's not the entire school year. That's just in preparation for this school year and up to where we are at this point. So you have about 10 administrators and wonderful office support team who make all of this happen. And in the summer, they're up here all hours of the day and sometimes weekends. This next slide provides a visual of the types of subject areas and grade levels for our newly hired teachers. Not very different from the way it looked last year, but we still like to show this to you. Other could include counselors, media, some of your enhancement positions. There we go. In an effort to further diversify our teaching force and to support programs such as dual immersion at Selma Elementary and Polenta and a few other places, we continue our partnership with Participate, used to be called VIF, but now Participate. We currently have over 61 teachers from Participate. That's 6 more than we had last year. So we're very pleased with the partnership there. Another goal we have is to create a workforce that mirrors our student body. This slide shows the ethnic composition of our certified new hires. Now, just to give you an idea, if you look on the back of this bulletin that has all of you in it, we have our ethnic composition of our students, and I believe this is last year's, but I don't think it has changed dramatically, but we have our African-American students, 16%. So if you look up there among our new hire diversity, 14.5% African-American. Now the area that really I'm concerned about is our Hispanic area. 22% of our students are Hispanic. And you can see 6.2% of our new hire diversity are Hispanic. And so all of our areas have to be a continued focus of ours. And our goal is that our staff would mirror our student population. But we do have some difficult areas to work on. And then this graph is all staff, certified and classified. And you can see the percentage there, 19.4 African American, 9.9 Hispanic. So the numbers are higher, the percentages are higher, but still not where we'd like them to be. Now, what is pleasing to our team and to our school system and to you, if you look at the red bars, that's the 1920, and you can compare that to the blue for the 1819, and you can see when we look at all staff, we have hired a higher percentage of African American, Hispanic, and individuals who would categorize under other as compared to last year. So are we where we want to be? No, but we're happy with the small steps that we're taking in the right direction. And then if you break that down into just the certified, you can see that the same trend is evident there. So I want to commend the HR team, but not just the HR team. Every member of our school system who is out recruiting and speaking with others about joining our wonderful force here, the wonderful organization that we have to help our children. Once the state board approves the teacher attrition data, I will come back to you and we'll do a whole nother presentation on the teacher attrition data. So the 2017 is what I presented to you last year, and the 18-19, we will fill those in hopefully at the next board meeting and be able to share that information with you. So this is our current status, about 49 vacancies. I think a few of those were filled today, but that's where we are. And if you look at past years, you will see that EC continues to be an area that's higher for us, math, and then you see elementary education. Who would have thought years ago, and I was an elementary teacher and an elementary principal, that it would be difficult to find elementary education teachers? But we, as well as other LEAs, are finding that to be difficult now, and then CTE as well. As I mentioned in the first slide, there are many other services on the team that happen throughout the school year. If you look at just the numbers here, 369 individual licensure meetings throughout the year. Those take 30 minutes to an hour at least to sit down with someone and talk about their transcript and courses that they may need, programs they may need to take in order to have a clear license. And then the conversion of the license, the renewal of the license. We're currently working with over 300 teachers who are working to clear their license, whether it's through lateral entry, whether it's through validating their license, or through the new residency programs now. In the benefits area, assisting retired personnel, we certainly are here for when we hire individuals, and we want to be here when they reach that time where they feel like they want to retire and then come back after they take a short break. But we also process voluntary shared leave. You can see the numbers, workers' compensation, injuries, and then employee of the month nominations. All of those are benefits that are offered, and it's time taken from the team in order to make all those happen. Current substitutes, it sounds like a lot when you say we have about 900 substitutes, but when you take into account 45 schools and the fact that at those schools we have individuals who sometimes need to take off for doctor's appointments and so forth, and then we need great subs to be in their classrooms. But we have processed 106 newly hired substitutes to work in our schools this year. Our wonderful volunteers, what would we do without them? But that also takes time to approve and monitor all of the volunteers who work with our school system. So you can see they're just, these numbers just continue. And again, please put this date down. It's probably in one of the dates that Ms. Gill provided to you already. But April 25th at West Johnston High School, that's our next teacher job fair, and we would love to see you there. And I do just want to take a moment. I'm not sure who came in because I told the team that I would be speaking about 5 o'clock, and for some, I know that's about the time that some may try to get home and see family, and we do value family. But if you'll stand up, please, I do want to just let them know who you are. And this does not represent all of our team, but they do an outstanding job, and I just cannot thank them enough each and every day for what they do. So thank you.
Mr. Vetrano.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm meaning no disrespect, but you left out something very important that this team does, and that's calendar.
Yes, ma'am.
Calendar is controversial at best and a headache at worst, so thank you all for doing that.
The memo just went out today about the calendar committee, and if anyone wants to serve, April serves on there, please let me know. All thoughts and input are welcome.
Any more questions for Mr. Vetrano? Thank you. Thank you, Brian. We'll take a break. Probably a
Did you consider moving forward with
Yeah, we can, you want to do that now?
Yes, go ahead and do
Yeah,
it.
all right, go ahead.
Before the public comments.
Go ahead and do that, Dr. Cosby.
Thank you. I'm not used to all this technology. I'm getting old. You got information about the November board meeting? Some of us have talked individually. You've talked somewhat as a group about the possible need to adjust our meeting schedules. I think we're finding that we're not needing near as long for closed sessions as it might have been the case in the past. And I think we're also finding that as we move through our agenda, we can move much more quickly than sometimes we may have in the past. Doesn't mean there won't be times we may not. But I would suggest to you that we look at starting our closed meeting session later, 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock, whatever suits you best, and then starting the regular meeting an hour after that, and then finishing up based upon whatever your policy ends up being on public comments, whether that's going to be at the first of the meeting or at the last. There's an advantage to having it first because like today, you say we're going to have time, but we're going to have to wait to do that. So I would suggest whatever works best for you, either 3 or 4 o'clock, considering making that change. And you can do that now, or you can talk about it later and do it later, whatever you want to do. But
I entertain comments from other board members.
I like Dr. Cosby's suggestion. We've all talked about it. We've had information from our constituents that they would like for us to start a little bit later so that they'd have the opportunity not to have to rush from their schools or, whatever the case may be. I would love for us to consider looking at our closed session at 4 o'clock with an open session at 5 o'clock. Would benefit a lot more people. And look at that, maybe even look at public comments being first so that they know we're going to open up and then have public comments at that point in time. So that's just my suggestion on that.
I completely agree, Mr. Sutton. I believe that if we started our closed session at 4 o'clock, moved into open session at 5, as you said, it would give the public plenty of time, especially our employees, to attend their board meeting. And, in the spirit of transparency, anything that we can do to assist that, I'm all for.
The reason we moved public comment to 6 o'clock was to accommodate that, but I think 5 would also be a good opener with public comment. I think it's important to hear before we make decisions, and if we have public comment at the beginning of the meeting, then we're not playing catch-up to do something that, they're not speaking about something we've already voted on. So I like that, and 5 o'clock seems reasonable to me. I would like to hear from the public what they think about that. And that's, again, as I said in the earlier session, it is online, and we do welcome comments about our public comment policy. So that's different than the starting and stop time, but that gives us input about how to structure our public comment, and your comments are very, very welcomed.
I agree with the start times as well, but also, as Dr. Smith said, to get input from the public for those people who get off work at 5 o'clock. Us having public comment at the end of the meeting may allow them to not have to take off work, but get off work to get here. So just try to make sure we accommodate everyone's needs.
I agree with Ms. Grant, and I agree with the 4 o'clock start time. However, Mr. Attorney, policy 1200, could you elaborate on that a little bit, please, sir? If you would address that in policy committee when it comes up, that would be great. Thank you, Dr. Smith. Dr. Cosby?
I think all those comments are very good, so I'd say let the policy committee look at it, stay with what we're doing now for another month, and then look at possible adjustments for December.
We'll take a 30-minute recess and allow our public comments to arrive. Thank you. We will reconvene our Board of Education meeting. This is your boardroom. It's nice to see our student body representing Clayton today. And I'd like to ask Meredith Robertson to please come forward, please. Welcome.
Good evening. My name is Meredith Robertson, and I'm a junior at Clayton High. The students at Clayton High are relieved that we finally have our principal back. Dr. Jones defies the stereotype of principal. When you think of a principal, you think of someone that the students do not like. The students love Dr. Jones, and how hard the students have fought for him speaks volumes about how much he is loved. There was no sense of leadership at our school when Dr. Jones wasn't there. He is engaging, and he cares about every single kid. When Dr. Jones is a principal, kids want to come to school. Dr. Jones brought energy to our school and made kids want to come to school, and we are excited to have that energy back at our school. He especially loves the life skills kids and the EC kids. As a community, we are questioning how could the county do this to a school? We want to make sure this does not happen to another school. My brother is in the high-functioning autism program at Clayton, and he loves Dr. Jones. Dr. Jones started this program, and my brother has been very successful as a result. Without Dr. Jones creating this program, my brother probably would not have succeeded in high school. My brother Kirby said the day Dr. Jones comes back will be the best day of the school year. I wish you all could have seen how excited the students were when the news broke that Dr. Jones was coming back. It was pure joy. It was not just athletes that were celebrating. It was students from all over the school representing our diverse student body. This shows how loved Dr. Jones is by the students. Dr. Jones is the heart and soul of Clayton High School. He has totally changed our school. We are very thankful to have him back. As a student, I would ask that you consider how the decisions you make affect the lives of us, the students of Johnston County. Thank you for allowing me to share my thoughts from a student's perspective.
Thank you, Meredith. Thanks for your comments. Ms. Winslow, if you would come forward, please. Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Board Chairman, Madam Vice Chair, members of the board, and Dr. Cosby. I am Kim Winslow, and I'm here on behalf of the Clayton High School community. We understand that the situation with Dr. Bennett Jones in Clayton High School has been very complex, and we appreciate Dr. Cosby's recent decision to reinstate him to our school. Over the past couple of months, we have come here to express our concern about Dr. Jones's transfer and how the grievance was handled. But our concerns go beyond a transfer and a grievance. People need to understand how this investigation has been conducted and the impact that it's had on people, including our kids. Allegations against Clayton were made public, and ever since then, there has been a dark black cloud over Dr. Jones and Clayton High School, with both the athletic and academic programs. Unfortunately, once those kind of things are out in the court of public opinion, you can't unring that bell. However, it seems as though so much of this could have been closed or cleared up long ago, and we can't understand why Johnston County Schools allowed these allegations to linger for so long. For example, on June 20th, the allegations became public against Clayton High School's athletic program, including athletic eligibility, grade changing for student athletes, and practice violations during a dead period. For the next several months, without any comment from Johnston County Schools, the rumors only continued to manifest and hatred spewed toward Clayton on social media. Many of us knew there were no legs to those allegations and that they had been resolved long ago. But do you think the media was going to take our word for it? No, they needed confirmation from Johnston County Schools. It wasn't until the parent meeting at Clayton High School with Dr. Cosby on September 17th, 89 days after the original public release, that we got confirmation that there was nothing to substantiate the original allegations, with the exception of the dead period violation, which was self-reported and resolved well before the allegations even became public. Was there an official statement of clearance? No. As a result, those rumors are still out there. In that 3 months, people's reputations were permanently damaged, and these kids were persecuted on social media. Things got so bad during the summer The football team couldn't even get approvals to get access to athletic funds to buy Gatorade for the sidelines during the games. I don't care what was going on with the investigation. These kids should not pay the price for that. And then on Friday, September 13th, Johnston County Schools put out a press release stating they had determined that 13 students who were declared graduates this past year did not attain the minimum state graduation requirements. However, just a couple days later, Dr. Cosby provided clarification indicating that there was a DPI deadline for reporting, and they just didn't have clear verification for those 13 students yet. That's very different than stating they graduated and did not attain the minimum state requirements. It was reckless on behalf of Johnston County Schools to issue such a definitive statement, especially when almost half of those students were cleared within a couple of days of that press release. The night of that press release, Clayton had a home football game. The Clayton students and community had to sit while the opposing team's fans held signs calling Clayton cheaters. These students and this faculty go to school every day and work their tails off, and they do not deserve this kind of public humiliation. I don't even know if you know how much hatred has been spewed toward the Clayton High School students, teachers, and administration throughout all of this. My daughter called me immediately after that press release came out, and she said, "Mom, why are they doing this to us? Why do they keep doing this to our school?" And those are questions that we all have because it feels like Clayton is being targeted by this district. Johnston County Schools was irresponsible in issuing misleading statements and allowing these rumors to continue without strongly shutting them down, to the point that it has created such a toxic environment in the court of public opinion. As parents, it hurts us to see what's being said. But the kids and the treatment that they have endured on social media is inexcusable. And Johnston County could have prevented this. Throughout the investigation, Central Office has shown a lack of human compassion that has bordered on harassment. Just a couple of examples. A Clayton staff member was summoned to Central Office to answer questions about the investigation. She expressed that she already had a meeting scheduled at A Clayton staff member was summoned to Central Office to answer questions about the investigation. She expressed she already had a meeting scheduled at that same time with a student who was homeless to help them fill out financial aid forms and register for college. She was told to cancel that meeting and report for questioning. On another occasion, a staff member was again summoned to Central Office. Because it was summertime and she couldn't find childcare, she had to bring her kids with her. She checked in at the front office at the appointed time and waited and waited and waited. She waited for an hour and a half with her kids in the car, only to then be told, "We're going to have to reschedule." Yet another staff member was demanded to come in for questioning. She asked if there was any way it could be conducted over the phone because she was caring for her dying mother at the time. She was denied that request and was forced to find another caregiver for her mother on that day. Unfortunately, several days later, her mother passed away. And keep in mind, these are just a few of the examples that have gone on throughout this entire process. Over the last couple of months, we have repeatedly heard that there is no way Dr. Jones could be reinstated at Clayton because we have challenged their power and they don't want us to win. I don't know who they are, but we just want to say this is not and has never been about winning. This is about doing what's right and acknowledging the truth. We are here addressing the Board of Education, the people that we elected to represent the best interest of the students, teachers, and parents of this county. Ultimately, the truth will come out. We know that the board still has not heard Dr. Jones's side, but we are asking you to please be willing to learn the full story. Be the ones to help heal this community and restore trust in the system. These are people's careers and reputations that have been damaged. These are people's lives. What kind of example are we setting for my kids, or for our kids? In my opinion, Johnston County Schools needs to do some serious soul searching in order to do better and be better for the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Winslow. We'll take that under advisement.
Thank you.
Mr. Rose. Welcome, sir.
My name is Mike Rose. I am a owner of Quick Shirts in Princeton, North Carolina. I am also a town commissioner in Princeton and a former educator here in Johnston County for several years. Appreciate your time tonight, and I just wanted to share a concern I have that has kind of been at the core of a few complaints that I've had with the county so far. But anyway, thank you for listening. For several years now, BSN Sports has been able to gain exclusive access to Johnston County schools and athletic programs through a contract system which coerces the school's decision makers, primarily principals and athletic directors, to not only assert allegiance to BSN regardless of price, but to use their authority to coerce staff underneath them to deal only with them for purchases of equipment and apparel. These contracts are signed with no bid process, even though I've been guaranteed that that bids were received. I've been told firsthand by people in the school system that there are no bids. I asked for and received copies of the contracts for 6 of the high schools, and actually did get copies of the contracts, but was not able to receive any of the losing bids. Said they weren't available. Exclusivity contracts are bad business for a variety of reasons. First of all, when decision makers are promised free merchandise and apparel, at worst, they are no longer able to make the best decisions for their school and students. And at best, they're putting themselves in a situation that can be hard to defend. I'm a town commissioner, and I don't really see it any different than if a developer offered me a special deal on a piece of land that I was voting on. And I thought of another example. I used to be a teacher, and I was in charge of buying computers for my classroom. And it's really no different than if I went with a vendor who promised me a free laptop to take home. It's the same thing. I don't think the board would be happy about that. Secondly, they're bad business because nothing is free. These contracts offer a discount of 10 to 35% off of retail for various items. This is almost laughable, as no one in today's market charges retail when they're dealing in quantity orders. In my business, I've never charged retail, as the market won't allow for it. When you have competitors, nobody can charge retail. Competition has always kept the actual price charged below retail. 10% discount might seem like a good deal if you're not allowed to reach to any other competitor. The contracts also state BSN Sports online player pay site is required to be used by all varsity programs. All other programs, including club sports and organizations, will be encouraged to participate. None of these prices are predetermined, though, yet BSN requires these contracted schools to buy from them throughout the year. There's a lot of room to offer rebates and discounts on items when you can charge whatever you want to throughout the year. Lastly, these contracts are unfair to local merchants who pay property taxes in Johnston County. I realize this may be the least important item to many, but I still believe it needs to be mentioned. These merchants, like me, pay money out of their pocket to sponsor school programs. They employ people, work with local schools, providing opportunities for shadowing, internships, and so forth. And if I thought that my business or others in Johnston County could not compete and provide the same level of product, I would not be here today. I personally am very frustrated at a system that allows principals to dictate where their employees have to buy things so that they can get free shoes and warm-ups. I'm especially frustrated when I find out they're specifically telling their employees where not to buy things, which I have been told personally. In conclusion, I'm here today to ask the board to issue a statement declaring that these signed contracts are non-binding, possibly illegal, and should be dropped immediately. There should not be a system in place in Johnston County that allows students, boosters, and athletic programs to be forced to pay higher than market prices just to be able to receive the tiny rebate given at the end of the year. These rebates are in the form of retail-priced blank merchandise, and it's a quid pro quo system that has no place in our school system. So that's all I have. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer.
Thank you, Mr. Rose.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. With that being said, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Motion by Todd Sutton,
Second.
second by Teresa Grant. All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries 6-0.